Chapter 2. To everyone's surprise, the stewards and police completely cleared Angus Masters of any wrongdoing over Maximus's win in the Caulfield Cup. Angus was greatly relieved. It put him one step closer to having everyone off his back. He had not even asked how Joseph had set the bomb. "If I don't know, I'm not lying," he reasoned. Joseph had hidden in the car park, as Masters had told him that Tony parked his car in the same spot every day at the cafe. He went in at 4 a.m. and hid in the car park's drain pit, which was directly under Tony's car space. It was a large drain, so he could easily stand in there. When Tony arrived and parked at 8:10 a.m, Joseph slid the drain grate to the side quietly and then attached the car bomb underneath the fuel tank. The bomb had a remote detonator that would activate the bomb within a 1,000-metre range. Joseph's hire car, hired out under a false name, was parked next to Tony's car. Joseph simply sat in the cafe eating breakfast and waited for Tony and Jimmy to leave. When he overheard Tony say to Jimmy, "We'll be ready to go in 5 minutes," Joseph got up and headed to his car. He parked up the street and waited so that he could follow them. It was a very easy job. On the freeway, he tailed them and then went past and sat about 300 metres in front. When he saw there was enough space around Tony's car so not as to harm anyone else, he hit the button. It was perfectly timed, just as Joseph was about to go over a small crest. In 3 seconds, Joseph was out of sight. He had packed enough explosives so that he didn't need to question if the job was done. Angus was content. Even though Fancy That had raced and won in Tony's colours last start in the Group 1, the paperwork hadn't been sent in yet. Very carefully, he changed Tony's percentage of ownership from 50 to 5%. The paperwork had Tony's signature, which could be shown to his wife and any legal team. Masters knew Tony's wife did not know the deals her husband had done and never attended a race meeting. Fortunately for Masters' deception, one thing Tony was big about was always saying to everyone with a wink and a smile, "Yeah, we have a very small share," when asked how much ownership he had in a horse. Sometimes he even had fake owners with 70% ownership who would take the prize money and then withdraw it and give him cash. He was always on the take. Fancy That was out spelling now and enjoying the break. Meanwhile, Angela had her new house on the Mornington Peninsula, as Masters had promised her, and she seemed happier. He had been spending a lot more time over there, and they were actually getting on quite well. If her not threatening to stab him while he slept could be called getting on well. His new routine was that he would go over Thursday afternoons to see her and the kids, and drive back at 4:30 a.m. the next morning to get to the stables by 6 a.m. and watch Friday's work. Depending on the results that Saturday, he was now also coming over to the house after the races and spending Sunday with his family. Angela hadn't been back home since he left. She knew he had arranged the car bomb that had taken out Tony and Jimmy, and she was sure he had also been the one behind the fire at tea leaf readings by Linda. Angela had made inquiries about Linda, but had not rung her directly to check if she were okay. She knew she wouldn't get a good reception. What she didn't know was that Masters had personally started the fire. Ever since finding out about Linda's psychic reading that had told Angela to leave him, he had stewed over how to get even. He didn't want another murder at his door, but some punishment was called for. So, he had followed Linda, and when he knew she didn't live at the reading centre, as he had first thought, he decided to burn the place down. He had enjoyed the stakeout, and had got extremely excited at the sight of the fire trucks racing down the road, knowing they would be too late to save the building. He was now enjoying what he felt was his untouchable lifestyle. But Angela was still on tenterhooks. With the social media and television spotlight on Angus, she knew she needed to act the role of loving wife, at least until she'd figured out how to disentangle herself. She had a plan to give herself space and time to get all her ducks in a row so she could make a clean break from her narcissistic husband. She watched over and over, and with heartache, the interview Rick did with Cynthia and Logan, and noticed how supportive Logan was. It was the interview about how Oliver had scammed and fooled Cynthia. She so wished Logan were here to wrap his strong arms around her now, and not the unpredictable man she had fallen for. It was time to put her plan into action. Angela left Charlie and Matilda with the babysitter and drove to a discreet building in a quiet suburban street. She stood outside for a time, took 3 deep breaths, and walked in. The receptionist straight out asked, "You look pretty tidy. You here looking for work?" "Oh, no, sorry." Angela was embarrassed, as she had never walked into a brothel before. "I would like to talk to the owner or the person in charge, please." "Oh, that's a shame, as we need mature escorts for the upper-class gents." As she gave Angela a wink, which made her feel even more uneasy. "Down the hall and just past the bar, room 7. Simona's in there." Angela knocked on the door and was told to come in. She was surprised to see a well-presented, respectable-looking, middle-aged lady doing spreadsheets on Excel. She could have been doing the books for the local branch of the Country Women's Association. "Hi, I'm Angela Masters. Can we talk, please?" she asked, trying to stop herself from shaking. She explained she wanted to hire an escort for a special assignment, someone who was young, sexy, able to act, and Asian. The reason Angela asked for an Asian girl was because she knew from checking Angus's iPad and search history that he had been visiting porn sites featuring young Asian beauties. Simone said she had the perfect girl for her, a beautiful young Asian woman called Lee, who was paying her way through a drama course at university. Simone set up a meeting, and Angela told Lee the details of the assignment. She would work 2 days a week for Angus on house-cleaning duties and some meal preparation. She would dress skimpily on occasion, to tease but without being too obvious. She would flirt a bit, and, as she gained his trust, she would cry poor, telling him of the difficulties of sending money home to her family. She would then tell him she was thinking of becoming an escort to make ends meet. That should hook Masters. Angela made it clear that if ever Lee thought she was in danger, that she was to get out. Angela knew the money was going to be rolling in soon, with the pending sale of Fancy That for $18 million, and the second payment was due in soon for the clones from Howard. Masters, Angela hoped, wouldn't be able to resist playing Mr. Bountiful and helping Lee out with money, enjoying the power trip it would give him. Angela then would have evidence he was having an affair, and also handing over money, and this would give her a better chance of gaining full custody of the children, and a better payout from her unfaithful, abusive, narcissistic husband. This was all in Angela's head as she thought of the court process ahead. She had also found a stash of cash before she had moved out, over $150,000, hidden in 3 shoeboxes in a cupboard. She was sure he wouldn't miss a few grand here or there, especially as he wouldn't have the patience to sit and count it all. The money would come in handy if she had to get out quickly. She would use some of it to pay Lee's salary. It amused her to think that Angus would be paying for his own setup.